What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, the opening game for the 2023 season between the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions we got going on. So I'm sorry if I missed anyone's questions on the Discord or Twitter or whatever. I just got back from dinner. So we're going to hop in this together. If you guys do have questions, fire them up. Tonight is all about you guys and your questions. I've already done all of my start-sit charts for the week. I covered that last night in last night's video. So tonight, basically, I just want to kind of go over the important player news, the practice reports, and we'll kind of just go from there. So if you guys have questions, please fire away. I'm just going to kind of go over the player news blurbs right now. I'll hop over to thefantasyfellowship.com and let's get this get these practice reports rolling for you guys. Good evening to Harris. Good evening to Jerry. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. I'm freaking pumped for tonight, man. I'm so excited. I think the Lions are going to give them a run. Good evening to Chase as well. Hope you're doing well. I'm starting Sky Moore tonight and David Montgomery in my most important league. So I'm pretty excited about Sky Moore's opportunity. I'm very curious to see the snap counts for these Chiefs receivers. I think Sky Moore and MVS are the guys that are going to be running the most snaps and routes, but we shall see. Good evening to Jason. Good evening to Aiden. And I apologize if I didn't get to your Discord questions or your Twitter questions yet. I just got back home from dinner. So Hopkins or Terry McLaurin, full PPR, says Jerry. It looks like Terry McLaurin's going to play, man. I feel pretty strongly about – he got a full practice in today. So he's on track here. He's playing arguably the worst team in football this season. Like, I don't know if you guys look at like the Las Vegas like odds, but like the Cardinals are projected to win 3.5 games this season. If we look at their defense last year, like the Titans and the Cardinals were the I guess I'm thinking about Hopkins, but the Cardinals were one of the worst teams, in fantasy football last year, letting fantasy points allowed. With DeAndre Hopkins, who are the Titans playing? I think the Titans are playing the Saints. The Saints have some pretty good corners. New Orleans, let's go look at the wide receiver points allowed from the Saints. The Saints were like a 10th best team against the wide receiver. So I think I'm gonna lean into Terry McLaurin here, man. Like, we didn't expect him to be practicing in full, but here he is. I'm gonna lean into the matchup of the Commanders hosting the Arizona Cardinals, and we'll see what the Titans offense looks like. Judy or Tony, half PPR. That one's tough because I don't know what Jerry Jeudy's going to do. He's been limited through 2 days this week. It's a really good matchup against the Raiders. I think I need to see what Tony looks like, Harris. I don't think Tony's going to be playing a lot of snaps tonight. He's going to get targets and things like that. So I don't mind Tony. Do you have another player besides Jerry? Yeah, that's the thing is I don't know if I trust Jerry Jeudy because I think both Jeudy and Tony are going to be in a snap count. Like if you have other players, I'm open to hearing any other suggestions. I think both guys are pretty risky this week. Harris. Chase says he's starting Pacheco, Sky Moore, and Gibbs throughout my 7 leagues tonight. Good luck. I like all those guys tonight. And play Deion Jackson. I think honestly, I was looking at your roster before I came on, Aiden. I don't hate Robert Woods and I don't hate Deion Jackson. It looks like Zach Moss has a chance to play, but like worst case scenario, if you have to whip out Deion Jackson, I'm okay with it. I don't know if I'm comfortable playing MVS, but I do know MVS is going to be on the field the most tonight for the Chiefs receivers. I think he's got a decent shot. So if you're feeling risky and you're okay with getting like a 2 for 40 from MVS, I think that might be the play, but I still think Deion's going to get enough work where we can use him. Do you think Nakua will ever be startable if Kupp lands on IR? I think if you have a roster spot open, I think Nakua is worth holding on to over the weekend to see what he looks like. If he comes out here and gets 6-7 targets, catches 4 or 5 passes for 60 yards, like sure, like we might be looking at Nakua on the waiver wire next week. So if you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, that's one thing that I like to do is I like to be a week ahead of my pickup. So like if Puka Nakua goes out this weekend and he goes 4 for 52 and a touchdown, like we're going to be talking about him on the waiver wire next week. So if you have a roster spot for Nakua, hold on to him. If you have him in Dynasty, like you should be excited about his opportunity. He's going to get a lot of chances this week, and we'll see about the next few games with Kupp maybe being on IR. So I think Nakua has a chance to be startable. You have Mahomes, if that helps. I mean, I'm more comfortable with Kadarius Toney than Jerry Jeudy Harris because I know Toney practiced in full yesterday. So limited, full. If I had to choose one, I'm probably choosing Toney. Also facing your Gibbs in the Fellowship TQB League. And you know what's actually kind of funny, Chase, is so I have 4 money leagues that I care about the most, and then I have the Fellowship Fun League, and then I have Harris's League. So I have 2 free leagues. The only league where I have Gibbs is a dynasty league. So I love Jahmyr Gibbs, but I ended up getting David Montgomery more in my leagues this year. Jerry says Pickens versus San Fran or Van Jefferson versus Seattle, full PPR. I think I'm going to stick with Pickens. I get Van Jefferson's got opportunity, but Pickens is the better player. San Francisco is a good defense. I get it. But they up here at this is last year's numbers. They did allow a lot of wide receiver points because they're tough to run on, and teams kind of have to pass on them. So I think it's Pickens. With Pickens, you only need him to make a couple plays. I think he's going to be a safe play, and I'm not overly too concerned about the matchup for Pickens. Other guys, Marquise Brown. Did Marquise get a practice in today? He's been limited with a hamstring. So I'm kind of thinking what Chase is thinking here. I think, and my thing with Kadarius Toney is like he's not going to play a full amount of snaps. Like when he's out there, he's going to get targets, sure, but he's also kind of a risk. So you're looking at Marquise, Jeudy, and Toney. These guys are all pretty risky in my opinion. I think I would wait to see if Jeudy plays and see if Marquise Brown plays. I think I'm going to punt Toney tonight and see what happens. I also have Jeudy if he plays in that deep of a league worth a shot. Let's see what Jeudy does tomorrow in practice. Judy's on track to play, so the fact that he's practicing looks really, really good. He might not be 100% himself, but hopefully he can, make it through the game. So I think, and I'm curious what you guys think from Harris's question, because it's a tough question. We don't trust these guys at all. But I'm open to both. Either way, none of these guys stick out more than the other. So if you have a gut feeling Harris, I think you have to trust your gut. If you have Mahomes, it might make me play Toney and hope that he makes a couple plays. But otherwise, I just want to kind of go over some of the player news here. George Kittle limited at practice today. Let's kind of do some zoomage here. We did have some Jalen Waddle questions at some point last night, but it looks like Waddle full practice. He's good to go. Of course, the big one today, Travis Kelce out. That might make me lean into Kadarius Toney a little bit. I think he's going to be their 3rd most used receiver tonight. Betting wise, and crazy like Justin Watson under 16 yards. I wouldn't take the 16.5 under. I think Justin Watson, I think they're going to use him, and all it takes is Watson is one play. So that's probably one I'm not trusting. Chase says I'm being forced to either start Mims or JSN in the league. I have Cup. Who are you choosing? If we find out that Jerry Jeudy's ruled out, obviously it's pretty easy to go with JSN. And even if Jeudy plays, MBS, Mims has a nice matchup, but I think I'm going to roll with JSN. I'm going to roll with the higher prospects in that situation. Bosa's back. He's going to be playing. But love Noah Gray over. I think Noah's going to get, he's going to get 3 or 4 catches tonight. Not a bad play. Do you like Courtland Sutton this week? I think so. Just with Jeudy coming back from his hamstring injury, you have a rookie wide receiver in Mims. You got a second-year player in Dulcich. It's literally Courtland Sutton, a healthy Courtland Sutton's all Russell Wilson has. So I think he's a wide receiver 3 flex this weekend against the Raiders. Seems like a good spot for him. So Packers news. We did get Romeo Doubs back at practice today, which is good for his availability, but no Christian Watson. That's a big concern. Back-to-back DNPs for Christian Watson. So it's hard to wonder what's going on here. If he practices tomorrow, he's going to have a chance to play, but it's looking like Christian Watson's a true game time decision. So I'm slightly nervous about Watson. Slightly nervous about, Jordan Love in a super flex, I get it, but slightly nervous for the Packers if Christian Watson can't go. I have Gibbs in the Fellowship League. You have Goff. I do have Goff. QB2, baby. I don't know if you guys, we weren't big Odell Beckham guys this summer here, but Odell Beckham limited on Thursday with an ankle injury. So we're going to watch that and see what's going on here. I think Zay Flowers is an interesting wide receiver 3 flex. Let's read the Jerry Jeudy blurb here. It says he will likely remain as limited. Here, let me scroll on down here. All right, so he practiced again. He will likely remain listed as limited, but it's excellent news since it means he avoided setbacks in Wednesday's session. So we have to see what he's doing tomorrow. I think pretty much, like, I asked my friend this, Jesse, and I said, how many tight ends, like, are you starting over Higbee? And the list was like 6 tight ends. So I think Higbee's the answer pretty much to almost any start-sit question for a tight end. There's literally only 6 or 7 tight ends that I would play over Higbee this weekend. And yeah, half PPR, that's fine. Like, Higbee's probably going to come out and get 8 to 10 targets. Probably going to be the number 1 target guy for Matthew Stafford this weekend. So I think Higbee is looking to be a pretty good play. If we go down here and look at the Seahawks against tight ends, they were one of the worst teams against tight end last year. They allowed 14.03 PPR points per game, and half PPR for Harris's question here, it was almost 12. So it's a really good spot for Higbee. Yeah, easily Higbee. I honestly think that Higbee, even with, the rumor is Kupp's going to be out a month, which sucks. But if that happens, like, Higbee's probably a top 5 tight end for the first month. So if you have Higbee, I think you have to use him. So that's just kind of the way it is. He's going to be a good play. I like Higbee quite a bit. Joe Burrow, full participant. Great to see. Looks like Cordell Patterson limited. He did have some injuries over training camp to deal with, but it looks like he's on track to play. Still waiting to see Chase Young. He was limited today. Hopefully he gets in a full tomorrow. Zach Ertz limited for the Cardinals. And then there's your Terry McLaurin full, which is, honestly, it's pretty surprising. I didn't think we'd see Terry McLaurin full. Here's your Marquise Brown news. Limited at practice today. We'll have to watch and see what's going on tomorrow. Van Jefferson or Cortland Sutton, half PPR. I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. I feel like he's more to be trusted right now. I don't really think of Van Jefferson as a guy that can lead his team in targets. He's more of a deeper threat player. I like Sutton's matchup against the Raiders, man. Like, I can't really name one of their cornerbacks, so I like Sutton in that one. The Panthers receivers are pretty banged up. Terrace Marshall limited at practice today. DJ Chark, let's actually go to that practice report here. The Panther receivers are dinged up pretty badly right now. DJ Chark, DNP today and yesterday. Adam Thielen was limited yesterday but did not practice today. So I am very skeptical that Adam Thielen's going to be good to go this weekend. And even if he does play, like, I don't know if I want to play an aging 32-year-old receiver on an ankle injury after he's missing practice. So I think I'm out on all Panther wide receivers. If you have to stash somebody, it is Jonathan Mingo. Like, that's the guy that I think will be the last man standing for this Carolina Panthers team with Bryce Young. And actually, like, Hayden Hurst is not a terrible guy to monitor as well. He might get a lot of targets. Would you trade away Schultz for a packaging deal? You remember that? Yeah, man, if you can get I would do it straight up. If you can swap Schultz for Higbee straight up, like, go ahead and do it. See what he wants. He really wanted Schultz. Want to give me Higbee. Yeah, man. See what he wants. I mean, if you can do it straight up, I think I'm doing that right now. Can you give me an update on Kenneth Walker injury? I think Walker has been full. Kenneth Walker he got a limited practice in today, so I haven't seen many news blurbs about him, actually. Let's go to Twitter machine and see what we can type up. Basically, they've just been really cautious with Kenneth Walker all summer. I think he's going to be good to go. I don't see any Walker updates here, but I'm pretty sure Kenneth Walker is going to be good to go. Limited practice today. Not overly concerned about it yet. Ronald, thanks for hanging out, my man. McKinnon or Brian Robinson Jr. flex for upside. I think this weekend is the weekend you want to make sure you get Brian Robinson Jr. in all of your matchups. This is arguably this is like the best matchup for Brian Robinson the rest of the year. You know, when you're playing the Cardinals, you want to get your fantasy players in that game. We're probably going to see upwards of 20 rushing attempts for Brian Robinson, maybe 80 to 100 yards rushing. He's going to get a chance at a touchdown. He's going to catch 2-3 passes. it looks really, really good for Brian Robinson. So I think that is the most important thing is I want Brian Robinson in like all my lineups this week. He just changed questionable for me. Maybe I guess when a guy gets a limited tag, that kind of just triggers the limited thing. So tomorrow's an important day for a lot of these decisions. We'll see if he's limited or in full. I'm assuming like I haven't heard anything too crazy, so I think he's going to be fine. We'll watch the reports for tomorrow. No problem, man. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you, Ronald. Do you like Jaylen Warren this week? So the 49ers defense is really good, especially their front seven. Like last year, they were the #1 team against running backs. So I personally think Najee Harris is going to suck this week. Like if you have Najee Harris, you're probably playing him, but I don't think it feels very good like at all. You're hoping he falls into the end zone. So I'm thinking I don't really want to play Warren. I think there's a legit chance that Warren scores more fantasy points though in this one because he's probably going to play more third downs and get more like receiving opportunity than Najee Harris. So I don't think Warren is a good play. He's more of a desperation play. But I totally wouldn't be surprised if Jaylen Warren outscores Najee this weekend in fantasy points. Someone just accepted a trade I sent away to send Shakir for 20. That's a good deal, dude. I mean, I had Shakir in a couple of my leagues, and I ended up dropping him in both to make room for other players. So the light just didn't come on for Shakir this summer. He had every chance to be the inside guy for wide receiver 3, but he was beaten by Deontay Hardy and he was beaten by Trent Sherfield. So he's like wide receiver 5 on that team. You factor in the tight ends, like he's like their 7th or 8th best target. Maybe with James Cook even, he's like their 8th best target. So pretty good deal. I like Shakir, but it just doesn't look like it's happening this season. Let's see what else we can find here on the injury updates here. Kendre Miller not practicing back-to-back days here. I think, and I'm really excited about Kendre Miller. Like I'm waiting for him to get the red O so I can move into my IR and I can make a pickup, guys. I think Kendre Miller is going to be one of those guys that has a chance to be somebody by the end of the year. It's just going to be hard to hold him for the first few games. Here's your DJ Chark not practicing. We're not using DJ Chark, but it is something to note. So keep an eye on Zach Moss. Like he's been limited in back-to-back practices. He might actually play this weekend. And like the head coach has been on record saying that like Moss is our starter when he's healthy. So keep an eye on Zach Moss. He's worth a stash if you have the open bench spot. Ronald says, would you go Christian Kirk over Dotson for flex full PPR? It looks like Scary Terry will play. So I'll be honestly, Ronald, I think both guys are really good plays this weekend. If we look at what the Colts did last year against the wide receiver position, they were, where are the Colts? Let's see. Why can't I find the Colts? So they were 12th best, but like when I was looking at the Colts roster, like I couldn't name any of their dudes. I think the Colts are going to be a funnel defense where they get to give up a ton of passing points. So I really like Christian Kirk, but like Dotson has momentum right now. And like we said, he's playing the Arizona Cardinals. It's one of the best matchups. And honestly, in both matchups, like we expect the Jags to kind of beat the Colts pretty good. And we expect the Commanders to beat the Cardinals pretty good here. So I'm going to say they're both really good matchups. I think I'm going to lean Dotson. I think Calvin Ridley and ETN are the two better players on that offense than Christian Kirk this year. So I'm going to lean with Dotson. Pick one PPR, Judy, Marquise, Raheem Mostert, Samaje Perine. I'm going Raheem Mostert, Harris, Judy questionable, Marquise Brown questionable. I think I'm super uncomfortable starting any of the Broncos running backs because I want to see what it looks like first. Raheem Mostert is the RB1. He's playing the Chargers, and last year the Chargers were just not good against the running defense. They allowed almost 26 points per game in a full PPR to the running back position. So even if Raheem gets half of that, that's 13 points. So I think it's a pretty good spot to get Raheem Mostert in the lineup this week. I do not think Brees is startable this week. And all summer I've been saying with the Broncos and the Jets backs, I don't want to start either guy in any situation week 1. We need to see what it looks like. Once we get that information, we can use it and make a better decision next week. But I'm nervous that Dalvin Cook's going to get like 40 to 50% of the carries. Breece Hall could only get 40 to 50% himself, but they also like Michael Carter. They also have, Izzy Abanikanda. Like, they have a lot of mouths to feed, and it's a tough matchup against Buffalo. So I'm like, I have Breece Hall in a couple of my leagues, but like, I'm starting Antonio Gibson over Breece Hall because the Cardinals matchup's just way too good. Yep, Chase agrees. Severe. I'm tempted to start Swift, but I also have Boyd, Sutton, Jay Williams. If that is Severe, is that Jamal Williams or Javonte? Because if it's Jamal Williams, like, I'm starting Jamal Williams. I think it's a big volume day for Jamal Williams because it looks like Kendre Miller's not going to play. If it is Jamal Williams, I think that's my guy. Javonte is expected to get a nice workload this week. That's all coach speak, though. Like, I get real nervous about that. I want to see it before I play it. I want to wait for the Eagles. Yeah, same thing. Like, the Eagles are another one of those teams, like the Jets, the Broncos, the Eagles. I need to see what this rotation looks like. Dante says, who scores a touchdown tonight? I think Montgomery's getting in the end zone for the Lions, and I think Amon-Ra gets into the end zone as well for the Lions. It's not a question. Like, I think the Lions are going to score points tonight. I just don't know if it's going to be 3 touchdowns. I think it could be 2 for sure. I'm trying to sign in here to the DraftKings, see who's favored to score touchdowns. It's just not working at the moment right now. Sutton or Williams for sure. Should I start Tua in a shootout with LA or Hurts in a slugfest against New England? That's a great question. I think if you have Hurts, you have to play Jalen Hurts. That's such an easy thing for me. I'm gonna. You took Jalen Hurts in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think you gotta play him, man. That's fine. Dynasty rebuild where you don't have much going on for you, like, start Breece Hall. And I'm trying to get those touchdown props up for tonight. The line tightened up a little bit. It was 4.5 all day, and now it's at 4. The Lions gaining half a point here. Let's look at those TD scores for whose question was it? That was Dante's question here. So who's scoring touchdowns tonight? I think for the Chiefs, like, I feel like Pacheco's got a really good opportunity tonight. I think Sky Moore is the guy that's going to score a touchdown tonight. And then the last guy that I think has a chance to score, it might be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think we might see Clyde Edwards-Helaire be more involved tonight as they're just getting, Pacheco back under things. Otherwise, if I have to take another Chiefs player, I think Watson's interesting, and so is Justin Ross in the red zone. But for the Lions, like, I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown to catch one, and I like David Montgomery to run one in. We'll just see about Jahmyr Gibbs. Right now, St. Brown and Montgomery are both plus 110. Pacheco plus 110. Those are the top players to score touchdowns tonight. Pick 2, Brian Robinson, Marquise Brown, Dalvin Cook. Yikes. Brian Robinson for sure. I suppose Dalvin Cook would be the choice. I don't like Marquise Brown. I don't like the Cardinals offense. I'm going to take Brian Robinson and Dalvin Cook. Those will be the 2 I go with. Evan Ingram or Noah Fant, full PPR. I'm going to go Evan Ingram. It's a good matchup against the Colts. We'll go Evan Ingram here. Evan Ingram. Let me look for some more news here. So we got about 5 minutes left in the show. Keep your questions coming, guys. Who are you starting at full PPR for tight end? Dulcich, Fergie, or Musgrave? I have Dulcich in right now. I think I'm going Musgrave, dude. Like, we got Romeo Doubs with a hamstring. We got Christian Watson with a hamstring. Luke Musgrave might just come out there and get like 7 or 8 targets. Dulcich, I'm scared of. Again, like, basically the entire Broncos offense. Like, I want to see what it looks like before I buy it. All preseason, though, we saw Luke Musgrave get heavy usage with the ones. Jordan Love targeted him a ton. He had like a 23% target share. Like, it looks really good for Musgrave. Also, like, I would probably rank them as Musgrave, Ferguson, Dulcich. So I wouldn't start Dulcich in this question. I think Ferguson on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, he's going to probably have a good game, but I want to go with Musgrave here. Oh, that's a tough one. Jimmy Garoppolo over Kenny Pickett and Brock Purdy. So obviously, like, that game in Pittsburgh is going to be a low scoring game. If I scroll on down here, only 41.5 points expected to be scored in this game, whereas the Broncos-Raiders game, 44. It's a little bit better odds for Garoppolo to score touchdowns here. If we look and see what happened last year, the Broncos were one of the best teams, though, against QB. So were the 49ers, but we do see that the Steelers were middle of the road last year. So I think I'm going Brock Purdy here, Harris. Choose one, Marquise Brown, McKinnon, or Boyd. Oh, that's a tough one. If it's full PPR, this is a deep question. I think I'm going to pass on McKinnon, and I'm going to wait for Marquise Brown. If Marquise Brown plays, I'm going to play him. He's the number one receiver on his team. I'm going to hold out hope for Marquise Brown. I don't know what McKinnon's usage is going to look like tonight. I think he will be used as a receiver, but I think I'm going to go with Marquise Brown if he plays. And we got maybe 2 more minutes left here, guys. So if you guys have any final questions, please fire them up, and then we're going to get out of here, and we're going to enjoy the first Thursday Night Football game of the season. You like Mike Williams this week? I love Mike Williams every week. I like him in a tough matchup. I like him in an easy matchup. I like him in a snowstorm. I like Mike Williams. And the Dolphins, I know they have a decent group on paper, but the Chargers-Dolphins game is supposed to be – I actually think it's going to be the best game of the week. I think that's going to be a really fun game. 51 points implied in that one. Chargers are home favorites. I think you want Mike Williams in your lineup. Jimmy G or Pickett. I'm going to go with Pickett. I like Deontay. I like Pickens. I like Freiermuth. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to have to pass the ball if they want to win the game. That's what the fantasy points have told us, that the 49ers don't allow running back points. They do allow quarterback and receiver points. So that's probably where I'm looking. I'm going to go Pickett slightly over Jimmy G. I think Josh Jacobs could be the guy that gets a ton of touches in the Raiders-Broncos game. And yeah, Waddle's good to go. He's finally in full practice here. But oh boy, we did it, guys. We made it to the start of the 2023 season. I think what I'm going to do is Sunday morning, I'm planning to go live Sunday morning. If you guys want any questions answered over the weekend, join our Discord. I have the link in the bio. Join the Discord, and that's where I can answer all your questions for you guys over tomorrow and Saturday. But Sunday morning, we'll call it 10 o'clock Central Time. I'm going to go live, and we'll do start-sit lineups and things like that. I've never played an IDP league. I think what you're looking for is you're looking for tackles. So start the guy that's going to get a ton of tackles. And actually, there's actually a benefit to playing a cornerback that's not as good, because a cornerback that's not as good gives up passes, but he gets tackles. So I don't know if you get dinged up for giving, up receptions, but he's going to get a lot of tackles. So I don't know anything about it. But I do want to get involved in some IDP leagues at some point in my future. I think it's a lot of fun. I know a couple leagues where people have their typical fantasy roster of QB, running backs, receivers, and tight ends, and then they add one IDP player, which is kind of fun. Well, I think Goff will. I don't think he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to get me 18 points, 17 points. I just want him to be okay. I don't need him to be anything amazing. But good luck tonight as well, Chase. Unless he throws to Gibbs. We'll see. But we did it, guys. We did it. We're here. This kickoff starts in 20 minutes. So I got to go. I got to get my DFS lineups and my other lineups made sure they're good to go. Good luck, guys. We'll see you in another stream, all right? Take it easy, guys. Good luck. Peace.